Hey folks, how's it going? This is Iron Seagull here, back with another video on Disney Dreamlight Valley. Thank you so much for all the support on the first video I did about this game about a week ago. I was not expecting it to get nearly as many views or comments as it did, because this channel is mainly about The Sims, so pretty much every time I do a video that's not about The Sims, it doesn't do nearly as well. That was not the case for that first video. It actually did way better than almost all of the Sims content that I put out around the time of that video. So I appreciate the support so much, especially when I divert from my usual content. I definitely feel like I took a bold risk, but I'm glad there are plenty of you who are curious to see where this game is gonna go. So this video is going to talk about a lot more specific details, including monetization, which actually sounds not nearly as bad as I thought it was going to be, and overall I feel way more excited for the game now than I already was. The first thing we're going to talk about is a pretty in-depth article by IGN, written by Jeffrey Vega. He was shown a preview of the game by Disney Dreamlight Valley's game manager Monet Castet, and they went through a little tour of the gameplay as well as the customization menus that the game has to offer. I'll leave a link in the video description below so you can also read the full article for yourself. So they first start off by talking about what happens at the beginning of the game, where you meet up with Merlin from The Sword in the Stone, and he's hoping you can help him recover his memories and figure out what happened to Dreamlight Valley. And you get your quest log and learn a few basic moves to get to the main hub of the game, which is the Dream Castle. The first mission's even called the Pickaxe in the Stone, so yeah, nice little reference there. Seems like an interesting way to start. Next, they talk a little bit about the realms that you visit to go and rescue the characters to bring back to your village. So Merlin shows you how to unlock the first door to a realm, and asks if you want to visit a desolated planet with a shy robot, or the ocean with a demigod. So if you don't really know the full context, then you'll be curious to find out what's actually going on, but then if you are a Disney fan, you'll already be excited because you know that these two realms are about WALL-E and Moana. When the early access version launches this summer, WALL-E and Moana are going to be included as 2 out of the 4 realms available. So for right now, they're keeping the other 2 a secret, and then of course there's going to be a lot more coming in the future. I gotta say, those are 2 very interesting picks. WALL-E, I guess I'm not really that surprised because he is very prominently featured in the game's artwork. But Moana is a little bit more surprising to me. I mean, I'm not shocked that she's in the game, and I do like Moana a lot, but I figured they would have started off by revealing like a really classic Disney film that's from the much older decades, like say Sleeping Beauty or Beauty and the Beast. Actually, Belle is very prominently on the artwork alongside your character as well. But maybe they are going to include much older films in those 2 unrevealed realms, so then they maybe would have wanted to start off with just later films that maybe more people are familiar with, like the younger generations. But anyways, let's get back to the article. So when you go into a realm, you have an intro cutscene featuring your character with the Disney character of the realm that you chose. So they went to WALL-E's realm, and WALL-E was terrified of them, but they were able to chat with him with several dialogue options, and they figured out that one of his wheels are broken and needs to be repaired. Not much else is talked about with the gameplay in the realms, but it is mentioned that you can use your newly acquired pickaxe to destroy some debris to try and find clues and save WALL-E. Thankfully, there is going to be some voice acting. It's going to be a mix of the original Disney voice actors as well as sound-alikes. So hopefully the sound-alikes will be really good, because if they are, then I don't think I'll mind too much. There aren't going to be full dialogue voice lines, but when you are in the valley, Mickey Mouse can, for example, walk by and say good morning out loud. Goofy is one of the characters who retains their original voice actor, Bill Farmer, so that's really good. And the characters in their houses have their own unique soundtracks associated with the character to add to the immersion, so that sounds really interesting. I'm assuming that means music taken directly from their films, But hopefully there will be the option to disable music in the options menu for content creators such as myself who have to battle copyright when uploading videos or doing live streams. But even better would be a streamer safe mode. There are a few games that do this, where when you have the option checked off, instead of having the copyright music playing that would get you copyright flagged, it would have music that is 100% approved for streaming and videos, kind of like what you're hearing in the background of this video right now. Next, they talk about the life sim aspect, which I'm sure many of you are here for. So they talk about how, yes, you can decorate your very own home in Dreamlight Valley, and with an example, there's a Monsters Inc. inspired living room, complete with a Mike and Sully couch pillow set and a coffee table with a monster eye on it. And these can be purchased in the store in your valley, which is kind of like Nook's Cranny from Animal Crossing. But here's one of the most important parts of this whole article. With this store, you can only spend in-game currency, not real money. With this being free to play, I think that is really great. I'm so glad that they did not go down this path, so that's very encouraging. With the passage of time in Dreamlight Valley, it actually uses real time, so if it is nighttime in real life where you are, then it is nighttime in the game. However, the shop and the restaurant are open 24/7, so it's not quite as restrictive as, say, Animal Crossing. But there are certain characters who like to visit the restaurant at specific times, so there is still somewhat of an incentive to play the game at certain times, so it's not like that's completely missing. I think this is a good balanced approach, especially for what I'm sure most of this game's target audience is going to consist of, children, who will be spending most of their time at school during the day, so then it is a little less restrictive in that way if these things are also open during the night. This next part is quite interesting as well, so they talk about the different locations in the game, including the main plaza, Peaceful Meadows, Dazzled Beach, Forest of Valor, Glade of Trust, Sunlit Plateau, Frosted Heights, and the Forgotten Lands. The main storyline of Disney Dreamlight Valley is supposed to have 40 to 60 hours of gameplay. Holy mackerel! I was not expecting nearly that much. Half of that if we were lucky, but wow, that's pretty impressive in my opinion. On top of that, there is a post-game where every character has their own unique quest line and story arc and can be leveled up to give you rewards. For example, you can help Goofy find his fishing rod, and once you do, he gives you a better fishing rod, which unlocks a whole new world of gameplay, resulting in Aladdin and Jasmine flying in on a magic carpet. No, that's probably not how that goes, but I just can't help but think of those two. So with that fishing rod, you can, of course, catch fish, like a rainbow trout, and cook it with other ingredients, because you can actually plant and grow crops, and create full meals and unlock recipes. Every character does have their own favorite meal, and it is one way of increasing your friendship level with them. And you are able to assign tasks to people. So for example, he made Goofy go fishing on his own, so that living and growing the Dreamlight Valley is actually like a collaborative experience instead of just doing nearly everything yourself. Wow, that just feels like a take that, Animal Crossing! Just with that whole paragraph, really, like not having to wait for an update a long time after the initial release in order to be able to cook, and also having a more collaborative building experience. So it's not like, for example, in Animal Crossing, you try to build a bridge or a ramp, and then you basically have to do 99% of the work, because unless you wait a super long time, the villagers donate a very, very tiny amount of bells, so it feels like almost nothing anyway. Talking more about cooking, you can cook recipes in your home, in Goofy's home, on a grill, or cook with Remy himself. Yeah, that last option sounds pretty cool. Crafting is also mentioned because while you can buy some items at the shop with in-game currency, there is a separate pool of items that can only be crafted. Okay, that's awesome, there's crafting in the game. I just really hope that they put bulk crafting in this game, because it baffles me that to this day, Animal Crossing New Horizons does not have that. And just like in Animal Crossing, you do unlock the recipes to make those items, so you're able to, for example, pickaxe a boulder in the way of your path, and then unlock a new recipe for a brick road. Next, they talk about your character and customizing them. They actually say that you can feed and tame little rabbits and squirrels so they follow you around like you're a Disney princess. That sounds pretty fun. So with the customization, you can choose a body type, body shape, and skin color. There's also options for vitiligo. I could have sworn it was vitiligo. I'm pretty sure that's how the skin doctor pronounced it when he diagnosed me with it, because for me I have a case where it comes and goes, and it's not like huge patches, but I did have it on my sideburns and on my neck. That was probably when it was at its worst a few years ago. Very recently, I had it under my right eye a bit, but I think that is actually just recently gone. Very interesting to see this represented in the game. The Sims doesn't even have that unless you download custom content. And then the wardrobe menu has basic tops, pants, shorts, and shoes, but it also includes options for hats, masks, glasses, jewelry, gloves, socks, and even full costumes. And you can actually wear the Mickey ears and the famous Spirit jersey from Disneyland. Not only that, you can also create your own wardrobe from scratch. So as an example, they worked with a plain white shirt, chose a seafoam green solid color, then selected from a large library of images that included shapes, symbols, characters, food, animals, and more. The end result they went with was a custom Buzz Lightyear shirt by placing a solid white circle shape in the center of the shirt and then overlaying a Star Command logo on top. And once the design was confirmed, he put on the shirt and then layered it with the fancy white space jacket for a truly unique look. So that's really cool that you can even layer your custom shirt with existing clothing. Reminds me a little bit of The Sims 2 on console, where you are allowed to layer clothing, and then it just expanded the options by so much, and it makes me really wish that The Sims 4 had it. Maybe Sims 5, but yeah, it really sounds like this character creation is going to be super fun to play around with, especially as someone who spends almost as much time in Create a Sim as playing through live mode. Next up is the aspect of replay value. So if you can replay realms in the Dream Castle, it's surprisingly yes and no, depending on the realm, because you won't be able to replay the Wall-E realm, because the whole point of that one is rescuing him from being stranded on his planet. But then with Moana's realm, you can go back because it is the easiest way to obtain coconuts to use back in the valley. That feels really iffy to me. I assumed you could just go back to all of them. Maybe it'll make more sense when I get to play the game myself, but yeah, something I'm a little skeptical about. There is also a bit mentioned about customizing your valley, so you can very easily drag and drop, for example, your house from the grassy area of Peaceful Meadows all the way to Dazzle Beach with no downtime whatsoever. Now for the part I know a lot of you expressed concern about, free-to-play and monetization. So there aren't many options to spend real money at the start aside from buying the Early Access Founders Pack or using Xbox Game Pass. As mentioned earlier in the video, you only use in-game currency at the Nook's Cranny-like store, no option to spend real money there. And there's thankfully no options to spend real money to speed up tasks like growing crops. And Gameloft does say that the realm experiences are free, but they plan to sell expansion packs and even more options for cosmetics in the future. So I'm really confused as to what these expansion packs are gonna have if all the realms are going to be free. It just seems to make a lot of sense from just the perspective of making money that they'd lock certain ones behind paywalls, especially if they were promoting their newest stuff, like say Luca and Turning Red, so that if you wanted to have those characters live in your valley, you'd have to pay money to unlock their realm. But I guess what will actually happen is if, say, there's a Turning Red themed DLC, then you would have some clothing and furniture you'd buy that's kind of like themed off of the early 2000s, since that's when Turning Red takes place. Near the end of the article, they talk a bit more about their long-term plans, so they are going to add many more Disney and Pixar characters from popular, classic, and obscure movies down the line. So I like how they specifically mentioned obscure. And Treasure Planet was brought up, but they couldn't confirm or deny any characters from that being in this game. But I mean, I did talk about Atlantis in my previous video, so I think we have a pretty good chance of being able to invite Milo and Kita to live in our valleys. I know another big question I had for my previous video was if there was going to be multiplayer, because this actually seems like a really good game to do that. So with the early access period, that's just going to be single player, but then multiplayer is going to be added later. So that is pretty much it for that IGN article. It is quite interesting too, at the end, Jeffrey does mention that he hasn't stopped thinking about this game since experiencing that hands-off demo. So I think that is also a really good sign that this game is hopefully at least going to turn out to be really special. In addition to that, the Disney Dreamlight Valley Twitter tweeted this clip the other day. Check out our Outfit of the Day Trailer Edition. Which outfit are you most excited for? So I'll just play the clip right now. So yeah, very cute. I'm assuming that music is an original composition, so that's why I left that in, and plus you can hear the sound effects of the clothes being changed. I can't decide whether I like outfit number 2 the most, or that dress that looks like it's straight out of Frozen. It actually kind of reminds me of the dress that Elsa wore in Olaf's Frozen adventure. Look, I know a lot of people hate Frozen, but honestly, I actually still love it. And whether you love or hate Frozen, you gotta admit, Elsa's dresses are always a 10 out of 10, nothing less. I don't make the rules. But yeah, I like all the outfits, and I love some of the more like country-styled ones too. So in response, We Has Toast asked, please make all outfits and clothes unisex/compatible with both the feminine and masculine body frames. Disney Dreamlight Valley responded with, we strive to include a broad range of customization features, and the character creator and the team has worked hard to support self-expression. All apparel items in the game can be worn by any type of player avatar. There are no limits to what combinations can be created. So that's really awesome. I wasn't 100% sure if this was something that the game was going to support, but that is really good to hear. So that's pretty much it. This video still ended up being a lot longer than I thought it was gonna be, but it is interesting the answers we got. I'm still skeptical about the monetization, though it still sounds a lot better than it could have been with them already avoiding the pay to speed up stuff and also only having in-game currency for the shop. So feel free to leave me your thoughts on Disney Dreamlight Valley in the comments section below, and be sure to subscribe if you'd like to keep up with my latest gaming content. I will talk to y'all later, and have a great day. Thanks for watching!